Ready when you are, boss.
Yeah, I hit it. It's saying the stream is offline. Oh, there we go.
Well,
We are back.
Yay!
Welcome back, everyone. In my neck of the woods here, we lost internet service for a little bit, so our apologies for that. But here we are. We are back, and the games are still going. So thank you for tuning back in. Hopefully, we get our viewers back. We are still here. Mike Walder. And continuing where we left off here, we're looking at Gadir Gusainov, who's pushing forward against Nicholas Wang in Ninja Force. And now it looks like stuff's happening.
Boy, I'll say. So, Black needs to avoid losing a piece here.
you know, this is a lot of action in the center, but going slowly, Gadir was just better. I mean, clearly better, and this looks very threatening. But you know, can't you just take on d5?
And then take back, and then bishop moves, queen c3 check, and the white knight is hanging on f4. That's as far as I'm seeing right now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he'll have d6, move the queen knight to d5, but I don't know, it's sharp.
Yeah, so what's the move after c d5?
Maybe e takes d5.
And then bishop f5, or?
Bishop f5, queen to c3 check, king retreats to g8, pawn goes to d6 on the queen, queen goes somewhere like c6, and the white knight comes to d5, which that is troublesome.
Looks like bishop f5 is forced.
And right away, the continuations.
You see how Gadir, he just moves so quickly. Boom,
Yeah,
boom.
He's calculated this out.
And and that's scary when it's calculated that far ahead.
And Nick's being proved completely right here.
But knight d5 is coming anyway, and
Wow. Look at that.
Notice how fast Black is playing as well, though. Black's got it all figured out.
oh, this knight e7 check is a mean move.
Yeah.
You've got to
It's going
take
to cost
it.
Black the
yeah.
exchange.
Yeah, queen h8. If knight e7, king f8, queen h8. I can at least still see that. Tough.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the Tarzan game while Nicholas thinks about his fate.
And here we are, right here. Alan Finkelstein is white against Jim Tarzan.
Knight e1. Why not pawn to d3? e3, rather.
Yeah, knight e1 seems a little bit odd.
Yeah, I agree. Black is seizing his chance here to do something.
Well, he wants to go knight to d3. But no, it's just not clear anymore.
Yeah. I guess Petrosian is not playing white here, but maybe. I don't know. Rook c1. See, what I didn't like about knight e1, I wanted to play pawn e3 so that the e pawn's not hanging and I can play rook c1.
Yes.
And that's what bugs me about playing knight e1. It seems to lose a tempo. It seems to lose time.
here all the black pieces are in play. And you're right, you can't move that rook to c1, that drops a pawn.
Yeah, so...
And let me go back to Gadir's game, because I think moves have been played.
If you recapture with the bishop and knight to c3, so he takes on e4, a whole radical strategy.
A very changing position. All the positional aspects are...
But now, isn't this great for black? Because then if black plays the bishop back to b7, it looks like you got that diagonal, no?
Battery. Yeah. Well, maybe yes and maybe no.
Well, that's a great observation there.
That's the distilled wisdom of, you know.
That's like, who do you like? Who's better? It depends. Whoa. E3.
Interesting move. I would...
Would you just go F3?
I would just... Yeah.
Take and play rook F8. Take and play rook F8. This is a mistake.
Ooh, that's even better. That's killing, maybe. Pawn takes c3, pawn takes c3, rook f1.
That's going to win the queen for...
And queen to d2, trying to hang on.
Oh, you're going to allow rook f1 check, huh?
Well, not much I could do about it.
Rook f1 and queen f8? I don't know.
Yes, rook f1 and queen f8, but I still don't see your threat.
Rook g1, rook g1 is a threat, maybe.
Yeah, yes, quite terrible.
We are great in San Francisco. The real Inaki Zavala. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, and Vishva, the stream accidentally ended because my internet went out. So sorry about that. We are back on. It was real strange. We get occasional like glitches, but haven't had that for a while. But that was sort of bad timing to have it when we did just now. But I'm just glad we're back on. Tough position for Stratus Jr. and went the F3 route.
I like Paul's very direct way. That was a lot of play. I mean, this looks good.
There's no way to prevent queen d5, queen b5, queen h5.
You're saying this is really bad too?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, that knight's pretty stuck there on e1 now, right? Just defend against...
As you say, rook takes c1, queen takes c1, and Paul's queen to d5 with the threat of queen to b5.
Let me jump and peek at Gadir's game here. This is the position.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, took the bishop there.
That was a technical term.
Yeah. That's going to be an ugly looking king side there.
G takes f5, rook takes f5. Guzanov has played some nice chess, you know, I think, in these mechanics tournaments.
Yeah, the games have been outstanding, and Nick's been annotating them.
Yeah. Just, there's a lot of class these grandmasters have, you know?
And speaking of which, let's give a congratulations and shout out to Grandmaster Alexander Lenderman, who won the Armageddon playoff against Christopher Yu to get the final seat in the 2021 U.S. Championship. And
incredible result for Christopher Yu.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And he was simultaneously playing in the World Youth event. So, great. It was fun following Christopher to see if he could pull off that upset. But Lenderman has been fine-tuning his craft at the Mechanics Institute's Tuesday Night Marathon. So we're going to say that we helped him prep for his qualification. But congratulations to Alex Lenderman, who withdrew from this tournament. He was supposed to play this tournament. He withdrew from this tournament because he got put in the Armageddon.
Right.
Which is kind of funny, actually. So, in the Twitch chat, what do you guys think about GM level play being all about computer lines and not one's own ability? What do you think about that? If you say, well, Grandmasters, they know all the opening lines and they know all that, it's not natural, right? True natural, like Fisher Random or something. What do you say to that, Nick?
Oh, no. You're seeing a lot of originality and inspiration in these games. It's not. It's some different style, and Gadir here, he's played. It's not like a computer. Some moves are so accurate that way, but
look at that. This
is inspired.
Yeah, he's a nice player to watch.
Yeah, well, look at this ending. And, the opening is just one part of the game, right? I mean, and that is it. Gadir Gusenov closes the show here and wins the game.
And wins the tournament.
Well, at least a share of first.
Right.
So the only person that can catch him is Jim Tarjan. Let's take a look at his game here.
Wait a minute. I thought there was one other player, Finkelstein.
Well, they're playing each other. That's right.
Oh, that's right.
So Alan can win and catch him. That is correct. The winner of this game would tie for first. If there's a winner. And Real Inaki Zabala is saying, he's quoting Bobby Fischer, says, chess died 150 years ago with all of the study and theory out. I'm assuming he's saying out of the game.
Well, what I think about this opening theory stuff is the fact that the computers themselves refute the whole need to know the opening stuff, because if you take away the computer's opening book, it'll still beat any grandmaster. Over the opening book is not necessary for the computer to play good chess and win. So all this study of opening, it suits human endeavor, but in terms of chess, it's not that important, I think.
If you can calculate 10 moves ahead, yes, you don't need too much in the opening.
And let's give a little quick shout out here. Aditya Cheetah, Rama Cheetah's son, defeated Andrew Ballantyne.
Wow!
Right here, and that's a good win for him.
He's an up and coming genius. I remember him as one of my students back last year.
And let's take a look at the top board in the under 2000 section with Rithwik Narendra against Stephen Witt.
Whoa.
A lot of pressure.
Not good for black.
And white's got those nice queen side pawns. Black's hanging on the king side, but
we do queen
looks
D2
like
here.
white can just slowly add to the pressure.
Time control is 1 hour plus a 5-second
Yep.
increment
Yep.
per person.
G60 plus 5. And we're in the final round here. And Mike Walder saying what the computers have done is make a novel idea good for a limited number of games.
All I can think of is that if you want to beat a computer, you're not going to be able to do it. If you want to beat a human being, it's possible, in which case you don't need all this computer knowledge. So,
or you use the computer knowledge to think about creative ideas.
I agree with people, though. For most of us, a computer is just, it's a completely unnecessary kind of assist until you reach a certain level where you're able to sort of understand what the evaluations are, what you're supposed to be looking for. A lot of times people under A strength don't even know what they're supposed to be looking for in a position. So until you get that kind of understanding, just, spitting out moves with evaluations doesn't help anybody, really.
Yeah, I mean, in the World Championship matches, it's very interesting. You see the humans and the computers working together, trying to find really interesting ideas. But playing quick chess or something, and then it doesn't matter.
Back to the other deciding game of the top section, Jim Tarjan, Tirantes.
It's funny, White just chose this completely passive strategy. And now just all that he can hope is to hold, and while Black tries to find some way to break through.
So what's he planning to do on queen to b5? Could play a pawn down ending with queen to c4, but he'll probably play knight to c2. The queen gets into e2.
I mean, White could put his queen on d2 and even allow queen f1 with a king on h2. I mean, you couldn't last long in that position, but it's a funny idea, maybe. Now there's yeah.
Let's take a look at this real quick with Akko Haydari and Jonah Bush.
Well,
there's something amusing about this position.
Hey, Gonzalo, I believe, has joined us.
Hold on. I've seen Jonah Bush is just grabs the pawn and then wins 90 moves later. I like that kind of play.
Focusing on the victory, not the length of time it takes to get there. So this will be an interesting match.
He's allowed White such active-looking pieces like the rook and knight deep in Black's camp, but they don't seem to be doing that much.
Well, Black's bishop's attacked. I guess should it go to f8 or c5?
Maybe f8 to avoid a perpetual check.
But then you could get mated with knight g5, knight h7, and knight f6 check. I admit that that's kind of far-fetched, but it's actually possible.
Well, I'd like to avoid the checkmate. Knight g5, either h6 or just pawn to a5, knight takes h7, bishop g7.
Yeah, that's the move. Yeah.
And Gonzalo's in the chat saying bishop f8 and then just roll with the a pawn.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Nick is maybe suggesting.
Yeah. So we'll keep tabs on that one. Let's go back to This one where it looks like Jim Tarjan is in a calculation mode trying to figure the continuation or the best continuation.
Well, it's too bad he didn't take on e3 and play rook f8. I think that that was a better way in. Although, yeah.
Certainly would have been more action.
Yeah, although this might be a force win too in some way too as well.
Is there any value to black launching the H and G pawns? Because, I mean, white is sort of tied up, right? Fairly tied up?
I like launching the H pawn because that also gives defense for the black king.
And this
yeah,
is
start with H5 or even H6 because you never know, that H5 square might be useful, but...
You know, and Mike Walder's in the chat bringing up a good point. Like, when you have a position like this where you basically restricted all of white's pieces, there's no need to rush, right? I mean, you can just build up your advantage little by little. You don't have to, go for the kill.
Often that's true.
Unless it's there to be had.
Yeah, probably H5 would be the best preparatory move. Then knight C2 comes, threatening knight to B4. So,
and then queen F5.
F5, yeah.
Queen F5, king to H2.
And Gonzalo's in the chat saying maybe improving donkey's position and look for a break on the king side.
Absolutely. We've been neglecting the donkeys here. We got to get those donkeys moving.
And the donkey representative of the knight in this case in Uruguayan street chess lingo.
I mean, if the Mechanics Institute is remembered for anything, it's got to be for, appreciating that.
Oh yeah.
Knight F6. Look at that. The donkey.
There we
moves.
go.
There it is. Maybe when we started referring to it as the donkey, then it really registered, and he said, "All right, let's do it."
Oh, okay. So Black could play Queen H5 and start attacking with G5 and stuff like that.
Oh, Queen H5 is a huge threat now because King H2 is not possible because of the donkey.
But what about H4?
Yeah, pawn to G5. Well.
Yeah, well, that's it then. Queen G4, Queen H3, Knight G4. I wonder if anything can be done to prevent that. I mean, Black, of course, has to figure out a way to hide with the king with H6 or something, and then just muscle in.
Yeah, that's a very strong move.
So let's say, I mean, what's white going to do? Queen C7 maybe? Oh, then Queen B5. Or
yes,
H6, yeah. Threatening Queen B5. Boy, that queen on D5 can go all, B5 or H5. This is suddenly looking really bleak.
And white's bishop can't even really get itself active. There's no route from bishop A3 to get active. Oh, there we are, Queen C7.
Maybe it's time for H6. But what about Queen B5? Does white have anything?
Queen B5 is terribly strong. The checks just run out. Queen
so
D8
white
check.
has to play Queen C4, but then queen b5, queen c4.
Then you just lose a pawn and your position's still bad, right?
I think that probably is winning for. I mean, White's king can't go in, can't go anywhere. It's got to be winning for Black.
Oh, you know, that ending would be wrapped up very quickly, I think. Queen b5, queen c4, queen takes c4, pawn takes c4, bishop takes c4. White's hoping for bishops of opposite color, but pawn to a3, and then you trap the knight with bishop b3, and that knight's just dead.
And there it is.
Yeah, and the king can't get out. I mean, it's just completely bad.
Queen b5.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I think White is now White's toast here.
You know, can you imagine
this was
having to
the
play
wrong
that
strategy, just the wrong strategy on White's part to take on e4 and play for this.
But I have to say, very nicely done by Tarantis. He really showed his stuff.
Yeah, very methodical, yeah. And yeah, as expected, probably immediate take.
So it's a huge surprise. The Grandmasters are going to tie for first.
Oh, I was, you know, of course you root for the old timers, but nice to see the kids break through.
Yeah.
Let's
but
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess they just need to learn a bit more.
So
I mean, this was. Look at Bishop b3 is such a nice move, Nick. It's just if Black could play knight d5 as well, it would be just horrible.
Oh, just that knight wouldn't go anywhere. But this is the top board in the under 2000.
Well, this looks like White can sort of win as he pleases here.
Yeah, look how defensive everything is.
Yeah, Black is just tied in knots.
And this would be a nice win for Rithwick because Stephen Witt was looking pretty strong in this tournament.
Yeah, he'd won all his games, right?
And check this one out. We were following it. We were talking about Marina Zhao. We thought she was going to finish off Matteo Hansen, but he's still kicking here, although his king looks uncomfortable.
It's not completely over yet.
Yeah. And it's interesting, you know, the rook's hanging for Black. We got the check on h5. It's can the White king get away from the checks?
I guess he has to go to f2 and
then maybe rook f5, queen a8, queen d4 check.
Yes.
I think Black has got probably a winning attack.
And he's no longer up the exchange. Maybe you
That's
play.
true.
Yeah, it probably works, but yeah, I don't know. White's got more chances than he had about 10 moves ago.
Yeah.
So we're gonna check back on board one with Grandmaster Jim Tarjan against a very restricted Alan Finkelstein with Stratus Jr.
He plays bishop b3. Well, if Black plays pawn g5, the king can never come out. But if Black plays knight d5, maybe the king, the bishop, and the knight can never come out. It's just how restricted can it be? Is white going to sacrifice his knight on f3?
Well, that's
We almost have
that's
to.
hopeless.
Yeah. This black probably has numerous ways of winning here.
But what's I mean, there's probably numerous ways of winning.
Well, if king h2, knight takes e3.
Oh, look at that move.
So the white can't get out here. Meanwhile, there's a passed pawn on the queen side as well, so it's just...
It's kind of like a slow cooker.
Zhutzwang coming up soon.
Yes, the bishop can hardly move. The pawn on a3 can't move. The knight can't move. This is where you start enjoying yourself too much.
Yeah. See?
Let's take a look at this game. We haven't checked in on this one. This one is on board number 3. Artem Kirukin against Shakit Sivakumar. Black is up a piece for some pawns. And if anyone just joined us following on Twitch, there's the link. This is the second annual John Donaldson Championship from the Mechanics Institute. You can look up the pairings and standings on that link. And Jim Tarjan is on board 1 trying to close the show against his opponent. And if he's able to do that, he will tie Grandmaster Gadir Guseyanov for first place in this tournament.
Well, this is surely a win for black, but not that. This one is definitely a win for black. There's no way white can move his king over to the king side. The way the pawns and pieces stand, white cannot cross over with his king. So black can just do whatever he likes to win the game here. Here
As you
comes
say,
knight takes e3.
He can grab it with knight takes e3. That's
Threatening knight d1.
Yeah, it's tough. Let's take a look at Akko Hidari and Jonah Bush here. It's interesting.
Oh, he gave up his bishop. Why did he do that? Oh my! What's going on? And can that white e-pawn run?
No, right? You just come back. What happened there? That was... Could it be just missed that? Yeah. I mean, if we play back a few moves...
Oh.
I think just missed it. Just ran there.
No. Well, king to f8 looks like it would be all right.
Right.
King d8. Oh. Oh.
I think he just missed that check, that fork. Yeah. Oh, it's too bad.
Playing for the win is what it is.
Yeah, he didn't want to allow a repetition with the knight check.
But what if white had played e6 instead
The bishop
of
would
rook
take the knight.
c4 check?
Oh, that would have won quickly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, here's where we are at now, but there's probably no...
Well, white has to play rook c1 now.
Now, can the pawn just march along and create some complications, or not really, huh?
It's not trivial. It's certainly winning, but
Knight d5 threatens knight b4. Rook a4, knight a2. White can afford to do that. Oh, surely black is busted here.
Ah, what a shame. It was a great battle. And
Yeah,
I hate
yeah.
to see a blunder change something so much.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this position in this game. This is the top under 2000 board. Rithwik Narendra against Stephen Witt. So white is up here. It's got
Yeah, this is just bad.
Oh yeah, and just taking more material here. And if Rithwik wins this game, 4.5. Oh, if Akko finishes his game off against Jonah Bush, and Rithwik's able to win this game, Akko and Rithwik would tie for first in the under 2000.
I think both players are easily winning.
Yeah.
So
They just have to hold steady there. Peeking back into Jim Tarjan's game.
That's such a nice position to see. Oh, he did give up the knight. You know, that's the only practical chance.
Had to. He's going to get a pawn back for it, but
and black didn't take the pawn at e3. In that
Oops, what's,
position
wait a
back.
minute. What's happened here?
Yeah, bishop c1 mate.
Knight f6, bishop c1 mate. Oh my God. Knight f4, bishop c1 pins it. This Jim just slipped up enjoying himself too much.
Well, knight e7.
Knight e7, how about pawn to e5? Threatening bishop c1 mate.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Wow. This is
have a turn of
Well, I
events.
never understand why Jim didn't play knight takes e3 back then.
Okay, let's go back and see what happened here. So here we are. King f6. King up.
oh he yeah, he just was
Knight
too
takes
confident.
e3 for some reason. Black missed knight e3 for 3 moves in a row. Instead, he falls into a sort of a self-mate.
Oh, he did 97, but wait a minute, that's not good.
Isn't he in big trouble here?
He's got to give up the knight with knight f5 check.
Okay.
Oh wow.
But then king h3. White insists on mate. What happens then?
Well, king f4 would at least stop the mate.
Incredible.
Oh my.
So white will play king takes f3.
Yes.
Well, then bishop f d1 and bishop takes g4. So white better take this knight, I think.
Oh, and then black will play bishop d1 check, and then he'll be able to take the h5.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think white better take there. This has been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so easy, but Tarjan is still a pawn up at the end.
Right.
King takes f5. king
But
takes
he's a pawn up, but you got the opposite color bishops.
Yeah, well, I mean, white's got some chances. It's true that it looks dim, actually, for white here.
But was not expecting to have to rethink how you get to the win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Black is clearly winning. It's just it wasn't what it looked like 5 moves ago or 6 moves ago.
Well,
Actually, that's true. Once you take the pawn at h5, it's going to be 2 outside pass pawns.
well, let's try this variation. King takes f3, bishop d1 check, king e3, bishop takes a5, pawn to d5. With the idea of pawn takes d5, pawn to e6.
And then bishop g7 and bishop takes h6. Yeah.
Well, it's tough, but some chances.
Well. All right, so king takes f3, king g5. Now king g5, not bishop d1 and king h5.
Probably they're both going to win, but yeah, the bishops of opposite color, there's always some sleazy chances.
Is the king g5 mostly to support the pawns on the king side for marching?
Well, just to take that pawn over there and to prevent white from playing d5, which and e6, as Nick pointed out.
Oh, okay.
So I think king g5, and that might just end up being close to a routine win. Maybe with a 2 outside pawn, with 2 passed pawns.
It must be a win somehow. But wow, what a scare this is.
Yeah,
we're gonna come back to this because we clearly
Jim's gonna have to work for it.
Want to follow this game, but look what happened here in the game between Matteo Hansen and Marina Zhao, where we thought Matteo was going to get mated on the board, and something happened.
Oh my God. King is outside the box.
No, this is hopeless.
Oh, that move pawn to g5
Yeah.
was one move too slow.
E6. Unbelievable. What a win by Matteo for coming back from the brink of defeat. And
yeah, this was not a pretty
wow.
game. This was not a pretty game.
Unbelievable. Back to board 1. And king g5 was played by Tarjan. What a match. What a final match.
So black makes black.
And Stratus Jr. is Alan Finkelstein, who's a 2000 rated player, Scholastic player. We know him well. He's had a fantastic tournament and trying to find a way to hold here against Jim Tarjan.
Oh, Jim definitely made it difficult for himself. He missed knight takes e3 a few times.
Yeah.
What do you think, though, Nick? Is it black plays king f5 and g5 and h4, h5, h4?
It should be winning, but bishops of opposite color, you look for some amazing blockade. And it's only one pawn, technically.
Right, that's true too.
That white pawn on d4 isn't worth much, but
and I like Michael's move a5, which keeps the bishop out of the game. King h5.
Yeah.
Now bishop b4 is a little bit annoying, right? With bishop f8 and
yeah, I mean bishop b4 is
it looked like a5 was better.
Because
he just kept that bishop completely out of the game.
Because he could have taken that pawn whenever he wanted, right?
Tarzan's getting tired here.
Still, you know, those old masters in the end game. King G3, trying to get the F pawn working.
That looks like the wrong strategy to me. Where's white going with his F pawn? If I'm black, I want to play A5, I think, and put the bishop on D5. Although I guess, yeah. And then play G5, H5, H4, bring the king back around to F5, and start getting in on the queen side. It looks like black should distract white with the H pawn and then get in on the queen side. Maybe it's not easy.
Yes, it must be too much for that bishop to handle. But you know, this pawn to F4, king to F3. The bishop will come back to E1, trying to stop the H pawn.
And Alan's got 23 minutes left to Tarjan's just under 8, but this should still be plenty of time for Jim to navigate.
Yeah, these, you know, as long as it remains simple technically, sort of, and black doesn't, there's not too much going on here.
Okay, so here is his idea. He says, I'm going to blockade you right here. That how are you going to push that A and B pawn if you push your H pawn? But you can probably go pawn to G5 and pawn to H5 to H4. Yeah, blockade doesn't seem to hold.
And then the bishop can go to D1, and then you can D5, and then you can play pawn to G4. Do the mechanics play chess?
And I said we have for 166 years. And the Mechanics Institute established 1854. We've been playing chess ever since. Very, very tough. Can you imagine if Alan holds for a draw against Tarjan and has drew Gusayanov and beat Winslow and beat Walder? What a tournament. And he still wouldn't win first place.
Wow. That second place would be the same as any first place.
Yeah, you would want that over a lot of other first place finishes. But still a ways to go, and still a lot of time left.
So what if black plays the bishop to D5, plays pawn G5, pawn H5, pawn H4 check, and then plays pawn to G4, trades, I suppose. Black takes with the king on G4, and then black pushes pawn, sacrifices the pawn with pawn H2, and then plays king E4, and then just takes a D4 pawn and wins the bishop.
Yeah. Well, I like that story. You know, that was
it's a good story. It's a nice fairy tale.
It's probably going to happen, and that's what you have to do. Just make your plan ahead like that.
That's Lucy right there, going crazy.
So, Abel, do we have the winners for the other sections all squared away?
Yeah, no, actually, the top board in the under 2000 is still going. It's this game here. And if Stephen Witt, who's black but losing, if he wins the section outright. But if Rithwik Narendra holds on and wins the game here, he will tie for first with Akko Hedari in the under 2000. But the winner in the under 1600 is confirmed, and that was Adrian Cheng, who beat Sebi Suarez. So I got my dog on nuts.
Let's take a look at the Tarzan game for one more minute. I think I might have tried to see something for white there.
No, let's stay here with this game.
Did Akko win his game?
He did win
Jonah
against Jonah Bush. Yeah. So here we are, Tarzan with 5.5 minutes left.
So what if white had played bishop to b4, bishop to d6, bishop to b8, and forced the... No. Yeah.
And Alan Finkelstein did offer Tarzan a draw, and Tarzan...
Well, that's ridiculous.
Tarzan declined it.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous.
That's what you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what you really think about that, Paul.
Well,
He's beside himself.
Well, what do you think, Nick?
Yeah, well, okay. That's, you don't know any better when you're young. What's the harm?
You can be forgiven, right?
That's right, yeah.
So what do we think here? Like, what's the...
I think black is going to play h5, h4. The king's going to go back. Then he's going to play g4.
Got to create a passer over there.
And white's going to take, black's going to take, and then black can just calmly play his king back to f5 into e4. And if necessary, he can sacrifice the h pawn to distract the king, and then he's just going to somehow win with a pass pawn on the queen side, or take the two pawns in the center, or I don't know.
So, yes, it's the defense isn't so good. That bishop's on d1.
Yeah, he should have circled the bishop over to try to get black to blockade the queen side or something. I don't know.
And Durian Defense says there's actually a technical term in chess when you offer a draw when your material down. It's called audacity.
Well, what about offering a draw? Yeah, audacity. Yeah, against a grandmaster.
What do you call it when it's against a grandmaster? And you're an expert.
Yeah. Bishop h2. That's pretty
Wow. Time to move on the other side of the board.
And Tarzan, 4 minutes. 4 minutes left. So what do you look for? You see this position, and you hear the opposite colored bishops. It's tough. If you're material up in opposite colored bishops, like in this position, what are you looking for? Like, what you're looking to improve your king? Create a pass.
Well, I mean, you want to make a pass pawn. Look at this, and nothing is stopping a5 and b. I mean, this is practically queening by force over here on the queen side. It's the pass pawn thing. It's all about the pass pawns.
Yeah, certainly in this game, because he looks like he can have one on each side.
Yeah, and that almost always wins in a bishops of opposite color endgame. Is two separated pass pawns.
Now would be a good time to go pawn to h4 check, because the white king couldn't come to f2 blocking the bishop.
Yeah. That would be quite amusing, actually.
Alec one's there.
And that's a good point. Bishop h2 was not how passive defense is supposed to work either. White's still trying to mate black with, some kind of put the black king on f4, put the black bishop on f5, and white can play bishop h2 mate.
And here we go with
he came close.
He did come close.
He was, he was dead lost and then came up with an amazing resource. So.
And for a second, I didn't see that knight f5 right away. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to check him with the bishop, and what's he going to do? And,
well, I think Tarzan didn't see it either. So.
Yeah, and Mike Wald is saying it's over.
Must agree with you, Mike.
But Tarzan 3.5 minutes on his clock.
And we have the jury and defense inventing doggerel right on the spot. Harry Pawn is joining the Hash Hound Harriers and will be harrying to hash down the board.
Like a tongue teaser. And that is it. He resigns. Alan Finkelstein resigns. What a match. What a game.
Tarzan must be breathing a sigh of relief here.
And Stratus Jr. doing the right thing in a obviously lost position.
Had a great tournament.
Yeah, fantastic tournament. And, maybe he can write about it. I'd love to hear his thoughts on his weekend because... he had an amazing weekend.
He played the
chess.
3 top players in the tournament and finished with an even score.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks here like Ritwik Narendra he has done it. So it looks like he is going to tie with Akko Hidari for top under 2,000. But we still got this game, which still looks like it's got a long way to go. This is board... we sort of let this one go. This is board 4 in the top section. Shashwat Sivakumar against Ishan Guha.
Oh, all those end games, and this is barely out of the opening.
Right. It's kind of funny.
Very nice position for White, but
yeah,
still a long way to go.
And I think this may be the last, or it's one of the last games going in the tournament.
Looks like Black is getting squeezed here.
It looks tough, and he's up a pawn.
Queen's, yeah.
Rook a3 might get a little play.
Yeah, maybe White should have played Queen c3.
Or in fact, what if you double on the A line? How do you defend that pawn?
Yeah.
That queen should have stayed on the third rank.
Yeah, that's a funny move, Queen g2. I mean, maybe White wants to play g5 or knight e6 check or something.
Or maybe setting up for f4 down the road.
Yeah, that'll all take a while, though.
Yeah. You have to go like h4, knight h3.
It looked like Queen c3 was just such a natural move. It's funny to play Queen g2.
Actually, you can't do that because it'll just take g4. Black with a little over 12 minutes and White under 5.
Don't Mess With Me who is this in real life?
That's Shashwath Sivakumar, who also has a brother.
Right.
And
they're all about the tactics.
Yeah.
96 check.
Yeah, they're like 2,000 level, both of them.
Right.
kids.
96 check is a little shot that maybe he's thinking of, Nick.
Can you just move your king?
And then F4, something like that. Some hyper aggressive thing. Look at that, and it's as though black can read white's mind. Doesn't want to allow 96 and some kind of skewer, or with the bishop.
But if I were black, I wouldn't be happy to wait around in this position.
Yeah, white played that. It's an odd move, rook ba. But maybe 96 was actually a try, and it's still a move. And then unleashing the f pawn.
Speaking of which, I haven't seen him in the chat. Where's f pawn at?
Well, I was going to try 96, knight takes, pawn takes, and if queen takes, bishop to b7 or bishop to f5 when the rook was at c8. But black has kind of cleverly sidestepped that by playing rook b8. I mean, maybe it was clever. Who knows? Now 96 check. Maybe black could take it twice. Like, yeah.
White, 3.5 minutes. It's gonna
yes.
It's gonna have to watch that time.
Yeah, we're gonna have a time scramble.
No, he's not. He's not a protege of the MI, but he's a longtime Scholastic player from the Bay Area. So
yeah. We've
known him in person, and
he's played at the MI as well.
He plays a lot of tournaments around the Bay.
I still, maybe white was afraid of knight takes g4, overlooking the fact that he could simply take back on g4, and if queen g4 check, just return with the queen to g3. I bet you that's what he missed. Queen g2 just doesn't make any sense otherwise. Although maybe he wanted to play bishop f5 or something.
Yeah, I would have put the queen on g3.
And
yeah, or g3, yeah.
And just
that's right. Queen could have gone to g3.
So the Durian
was a weird one.
Durian Defense's proteges of the MI. We're talking Daniel Naroditsky, Sam Shanklin. Those are proteges of the MI. Played at the MI. They're like home was the MI at one point. And that still are a part of the club and help out in any way they can, both of them.
Why did black play rook c8, rook b8? Now this looks.
Yeah, now that black just opened it up. Could have just sat there. Now the bishops are good. Pawn to f4 can happen.
Bishop d5 and f4. Yikes. And the rook's even on the third rank to help. Maybe this was white's plan all along. The rook on the third rank. This is getting rough here for black. All of his pieces are badly placed.
But 1 minute and 50 some seconds.
He's gonna have to watch out. Although, he does play blitz, so not so worried about his ability to play fast. Plus, it is a 5-second increment, and so it's a lot of increment that you
F4 and G5 and F5. Something has got to give here for black. I guess F4, knight C6, maybe bishop D5 first. I don't know. Rook E3. So many good-looking moves. A bullet department. Maybe G5 right away so that the black knight can't move.
It depends where the queen goes.
Yeah.
The queen goes to E7, Then maybe rook e3. But if it goes to d7, pawn to g5 looks good.
And Daniel Naroditsky could be the dean of bullet chess. Absolutely.
Nick, have you ever tried to play a bullet game?
Oh, sometimes, but well, actually, that bullet wouldn't work on my computer. But the experts in bullet, they like anticipate the moves. They'll do tricky moves. They'll say, "Oh, I'll lose a knight if I gain 10 seconds on the clock." It's
10 seconds. That's a lifetime in bullet chess.
Yeah, and I think you can like set pre-moves up to like 5 or 10 moves. Pre-moves.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
what do you do to that? Shirazi versus Duffy.
I'm not gonna play it. That's what I'm gonna do.
I mean,
G5 looks pretty good here. F4 looks crushing.
F4 knight c6 may hang on for.
And then bishop c3. I guess, yeah. This is just yikes.
1 minute. Still 1 minute. Now it's bullet chess.
Yeah.
Isn't bullet 30 seconds and less or something?
A minute. 1 minute.
Oh.
Yeah.
30 seconds for the whole game is just, I've watched it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Oh, well, that was too much. Even in bullet chess, you win this one.
Yeah, look at that.
That's just, yeah. Was he hoping that white wasn't going to play F4?
And black's got the time, right? And just...
Sometimes it happens. You want to blitz your opponent because he has so little time.
Yeah, you got carried too fast.
This is just horrible. Yikes.
Well, try to hang on. Rook to e8.
Queen g3.
Oh, you're terrible, Paul. That's not really anything. But maybe he'll take the knight. Oh, he did take the knight, and he can still play Queen G3.
Because if F4 takes F4,
right.
Yeah. That's even meaner.
That would be a great move. It's like you're walking into a fork.
Oh, he's confused a little. Should be over, but we've seen such a great comeback.
Yeah.
We
of
played
course,
it.
white can win in with a bunch of different moves here, but Queen G3 is.
And he had to take some time to make sure.
Oh, he played it. Yeah, Rook E5 was good too. Rook E5 was even prettier, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rook takes E5. Nice.
Yes, I'm just wondering how black can prolong the game. So tough. Going to be a rook down.
And getting mated.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, black made it a little bit.
Hey, he's fighting.
Yeah, and we see this all the time, that the player thinks after the move that instead of thinking during the move.
Before it happened, yeah.
Yeah, it's very common. Even among strong players.
And Big Piano now in the think, but now he's thinking of how do I...
You're supposed to think before you get into the mess, right, Nick?
Well, there's There's one theory of that, yes.
And then you won't get into the mess.
Trading into an endgame, and there's probably nothing to be done.
And black has to trade, right?
Yes, bishop c5 will be the end.
This is no victory for black getting into an endgame.
Yeah.
Although, the longer you survive, the more chances you have of swindling your opponent.
Especially when your opponent's got 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Although I have to believe he's aware and comfortable that he can build up the increment. And I mean, he could just make random king move and gain 10 seconds.
Well, you have to watch out. Like, you could lose a pawn or two if you're not careful, and then you'd still be winning, probably.
Yes. Well, maybe he will lose a pawn or two. Take on a2, threatening e2.
I like the way white, though, makes us just go straight for the c pawn. Why not? So rook a2. I mean, of course, white would probably have time to defend the bishop c4, bishop c4, rook c4, rook e2. You know, that passed b pawn will cost black his rook.
Yeah, it's hard to see.
It's hopeless.
Well, I'll say that yet.
And white, and there it is. Finished off the show. So he will finish with 3.5 points. And we'll know soon enough here. And that is the final game of the tournament. So pretty soon we'll have the updated final standings. But what we do know is that Jim Tarjan and Gadir Guseyanov, both with 5 out of 6, tie for first in the top section. We also know that Rithwik Narendra with 4.5 and Akko Hidari with 4.5, they tie for first in the under 2000. And Adrian Cheng alone in first after beating Sebi Suarez in the under 1600. So I'll wait for the update of the standings, and then we'll put it up, and then we'll take a look. And fantastic final round. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, so much action and
it is
back and forth comebacks,
and it is up. So let me.
That Tarjan game was a doozy.
All right, let me. All right, let me see if I can. I'll put it up. I gotta do a little surgery here, there. And looks like we also have the prizes, the tentative prizes. I'll move.
Is it going to go through fair play review?
Yeah, so all these games will go to Dr. Ken Regan, so chess.com will screen the games, but so will Dr. Ken Regan. And once we get that confirmation, that is it. And there you have it, everyone. Actually, let me scroll down here on it.
Congratulations.
Gadir Guseyanov with 5 out of 6, along with Jim Tarjan. They tied for
first. And Alan
first.
Finkelstein and Shakit Sivakumar had great tournaments.
That's right. They tie for third. And it's nice to see that he gets a payday, especially given what he had to go through to get that tie for third. He had a slightly lighter road than Shakit did, but nonetheless, congratulations to all those players. And then scrolling down, let's look at the the under 2000 and Akko Hidari and Rithwik Narendra as predicted. They tie for first, and congratulations also to Stephen Witt and Leonardo Zul, tie for third in that section with 4 out of 6. And you can look at the bottom there, Adrian Cheng, 5 out of 6 all alone, with sole first place, and Valerie Jade, actually a big tie for second place. Valerie Jade, Sebi Suarez, Ananga Juraji, and Sean Kelly with 4.
Look at the top 2 finishers in the 1600 to 1999 section. 3 draws and 3 wins apiece.
Yeah, undefeated.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, undefeated.
And nobody went 6-0.
Nobody went 6-0. Nobody went 5.5.
Nobody even went 5.5. These are tough little tournaments.
Yeah, this is no joke at the Mechanics Institute.
Yeah, it's no joke.
We're not. Our players are not messing
around. This ain't no disco.
This ain't no disco. So that is it. Let me fix the board before we give our final thoughts. So what do you think of this final round and sort of the last tournament, regular tournament before the New Year's out?
Well, I got to say, that Grandmaster draw that we saw, that was an interesting moment.
You think so? Why?
No, I'm just trying to be silly. I mean, that was perfectly understandable.
Yeah, they want to stay away from each other, and
professional.
Yeah, and awesome coverage of the final round, and exciting final round. And we have our Chess Cafe tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time. John Donaldson will be in there talking about his new book. If you want some more information and join us on the Chess Cafe, we just put it in there. And we have a light week this coming week for the holidays. A well-deserved break. We won't have the newsletter this week either, and in 2 weeks we will be wall-to-wall coverage of the 2020-2021 Pan American Intercollegiate Online Chess Championship. We already have 42 teams confirmed for it.
Wow.
That's confirmed now, and we're still 2 weeks away, so we're looking at maybe 50 to 60 teams. And that's going to be an amazing tournament to cover. That's January 4th through 6th, and we'll have coverage of that. And we are also organizing the U.S. Amateur Team West, January 30th through 31st. So a lot of stuff, and Judith's putting everything in the chat. So a lot of chess starting in 2021 here at the Mechanics Institute, and we are honored to organize those events, and we will provide coverage on our Twitch channel. If you don't already follow us and you're watching, click that follow button so that you don't miss out on all the action here at the Mechanics Institute online. So
yeah, congratulations, Abel.
And thank you to you guys, and thank you to Judith, who's a huge part of making everything happen and doing everything behind the scenes as she always does. So thank you, Judith, for all that you do. And we're not done. We have next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, the final 2 rounds of the Tuesday night marathon.
Be there or be square.
Or be square. And yeah, really cool stuff. Thank you for everyone in the chat and for all your contribution and for following what we do. None of what we do would be the same without all the love and all the following that you give us. So thank you for everything. And before we sign out, let's see who is around, who we can give our support to. Let's see who is. And
I don't know enough about these chess streamers.
Yeah, it shows up who's on so that we can
Right.
raid, and it's sort of, let's give it to the Chess Dojo because they give us a lot of love
Oh yeah,
for sure. So we'll raid the
John
Chess
MacArthur.
Dojo and David Pruis and Kostya and Jesse Cry and everyone. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you Tuesday night, if not on Monday, for the Chess Cafe. All right, for Grandmaster Nick DeFermian, FIDE Master Paul Whitehead, and Dr. Judith Starre, I'm Abel Talamantes. Thank you,
All right.
and see you soon.